Good evening, everyone. We'll wait till 6:05. After that, we'll start the session. Some more to join also, no? Good evening. What about the progress of your fifth module assignment? Have you all started or still gathering information? What's the progress? Dileka?
Gathering information.
Gathering information, right. Achini, what about you, Puta?
Madam, I started the presentation.
Okay, good. Chamari?
I am not started yet, ma'am.
When are you planning to start, Chamari?
Tomorrow I can, yes. Tomorrow
Okay.
is holiday. No?
Right. Nadi, what about you?
Still not started, ma'am. Within 2 days, I hope to start it because this is I'm doing another assignment. After 2 days, I hope to start it.
Right. Okay. Dinushi?
Sorry, madam, I just joined.
Now, what I was asking, Dinushi, whether you have started doing the fifth module assignment.
Yes.
Good.
Special needs children, yes.
You have started. Very
Yes.
good. Right.
Okay.
Okay. Maheshi, did you start, Puta?
Yes, ma'am, I start my presentation.
What I heard, like started. Right. Pujani? Maheshi, yes, did you start your eye? Pujani also said yes, right. Now, why I'm telling you all have to stick to some deadlines and remember, make kind of a small plan. Then it's extremely easy for you to manage your time. Otherwise, it's a bit harder. So try to do like that, right? Before I'm going to go to the day 3, so I will just recap what are the things that we have done on day 1 and day 2, right? So then from there, even you will get some sort of things what we have discussed, right? Now, I think I have mentioned you very clearly. Now, this fifth module, now all the other modules, somewhat similar. Somewhat similar means like they basically talk about the education and then what are the trends in education, how to be with the students, how to do work, like that way, kind of some sort of common things only we discussed in all the other modules. But this is kind of a totally different module. Why? Rarely we touch this type of a module. Now, in this module, basically, we are talking about the special need education and these special need children and their characteristics and their disorders and all those things. So therefore, this fifth module, when you're getting your final exam, I don't think it's extremely easy like the other previous modules, because I won't say that the previous modules are also easy, but there you can include some sort of real life example, some your practical ideas, your point of views like that. But here you should know some specific terminology, some concepts. So therefore, try to be a bit familiar with these words and everything. So from your end, you have to try, right? So on the day one, we were discussing who are children. Now there I mentioned, simply we consider the children means from the birth till the 18 years, we consider them as the children, right? From the birth till the 18 years, we consider them as the children, and they depend on their parents. Sometimes they depend on their relatives, they depend on their neighbors, friends like that. Why? They cannot do things alone, right? So why they are depending for their emotional support, physical support, financial support. So to get all those things, they depend, right? That is how we classify, or that is how we define a child. So when we consider a special need child or a child with special needs, they are also doing the same way. They are even now, they also depend on the parents, but not like the normal people. They need more attention or additional support or extra support, either from their parents, neighbors, relatives, friends, wife, their emotional development. Similar way like the previous set, right? For their emotional development, physical development, financial support, for everything they need, because they are not actually like they are not fully normal. So due to that, the parents also have to give the special attention. The parents should give the special support. Likewise, so they are extremely special. So if we do not consider them in a proper way, it's a bit harder, right? So we identified that. Then after that, we discuss, now when we consider these special need children, why do we categorize them as special need children? Because they are having some physical disabilities, some they can't walk properly, they have some issues in their spinal cord, or maybe they are having some other issues, they can't do proper movements, and they have some developmental issues, right? Maybe they have not developed well like the other normal people, and more importantly, they are having learning disabilities. Right? So learning disabilities means maybe they are having dyslexia, or maybe they are having some sort of ADHD, some issues. They can't speak properly, they can't read properly, right? So sometimes they are having some emotional and behavioral disorders. Sometimes their sensory organs are not working properly. So when they have these type of criteria, we call them as the special need children. So the special need children need the special therapies. So if they do not get the proper special therapies, it's a bit harder for them to develop properly. So therefore, from the parent side and from the other side, it's really important that we have to support them. So that is what we have done on day one. Then what is this inclusive education? That was the second thing that we have discussed on day two. Now there I discussed, now normally when we consider this inclusive education means all the people should get the equal level of education. But when it comes to these disabled students or disabled children or special needs children, they do not get the similar access like the normal people. So they are having many more issues. So that is why we are telling this inclusive education is more effective. So we have to encourage them to get the proper education. We have to encourage them to attend them to the schools, sending them to the proper schools, sending them for proper training things, right? So that also very, very important that we have discussed. And then what are the advantages of this inclusive education? So that means when the normal children, when they stay together with these disabled children or with these special need children or maybe with different categorized students, so they will learn many more things, how to respect them, how to understand their weaknesses and strengths, how to understand their cultures, and to work with them, build their team spirit, like many more things that they learn when they are having this inclusive education. And there we discuss now, when we are talking about this inclusive education, the school's role or the teacher's role, because we know when we are going to keep these special need children or the disabled children, they need some special infrastructure, because some special need children or these disabled children, they can't walk properly. So they need some equipments, machines, some separately designed tools, right? So that means it's a bit costly. So they have to arrange all those things also in a proper way, right? So those are the main things that we have discussed, and then we have done kind of a case study as well, right? So that is all about the day 2, right? Then today we are moving to the day 3. Now you all have some sort of ideas about these special need children and then these disabled children. Now we are going to learn key characteristics of learning disabilities, right? And some of the kind of diseases we are going to identify, right? So when we consider these learning disabilities, now it is very prominent. When we go to the class, we see sometimes the teachers, they complain. They are the ones, those who identify these things very fastly, because they be with the children. So then from the children's movements, the way they speak, with their behavior, with their personality, they identify, right? Before I'm going to talk about these learning disabilities, can anyone tell what is behavior? හැසිරීම කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා? That is what we first identify from the students. Yes, what is behavior? Is it a visible thing or an invisible thing, behavior?
Visible.
Visible.
Visible thing.
Yeah, it's a visible thing, right? Behavior means it's a visible thing. අපිට මේ හැසිරීම අපිට පේනවා. But according to the psychology, we say, even though we see this behavior, it's act like maybe you all know what is that iceberg. In Titanic also they talk about this iceberg. Wait, I will show that slide, then from there you will get. So we say the iceberg theory of behavior. I do not want to explain this theory, but from there, if you're going to identify some of the parts, you can understand why the teachers should be really concerned about the students' behavior, because always we tell they are having this student is having some behavioral issues. So always the teachers are complaining that, but they don't know why they are doing that. What are the issues? So from the teachers in knowing the psychological part is very, very important, because you all are going to handle with the students, right? So remember that. This is, of course, not I have prepared for you all, that is for the psychology lectures, but I will show some of the parts, right? Now, simply you identify this behavior means it's kind of where we can observe. That means it's a visible thing. So we feel, right? We see that, right? Remember, whatever the things that we are doing, it comes in a very network manner. First, you will get your thoughts. අපිට මුලින්ම වෙන්නේ පුතේ අපිට සිතුවිලි එනවා, right? Thoughts. මේ හැමෝටම මම මේ කියන්නේ not only for children or not only for the special need children or not only for any other, it's for all the human beings. We get the thoughts. So these thoughts can be two, positive thoughts and negative thoughts. එතකොට මේ එන සිතුවිලි ධනාත්මක සිතුවිලි වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, ඍණාත්මක සිතුවිලි වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, right? Then these thoughts only it carries to a feeling. මේ thought එකෙන් තමයි අපිට හැඟීමක් එන්නේ. After the feeling only we make the action. අපි ක්‍රියාවට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නේ මේ මුලින්ම අපිට ආව සිතුවිල්ලක්. ඒ සිතුවිල්ලෙන් අපිට යම්කිසි හැඟීමක් ආව. මේ හැඟීමත් එක්ක network එකක connect වෙලා තමයි අපි මේ action එක නැත්නම් අපේ ක්‍රියාව එළියට දාන්නේ. මේ ක්‍රියාවත් එක්ක තමයි අපිට reaction එකක් එන්නේ, ප්‍රතික්‍රියාවක් අනිත් පැත්තෙන්. So normally according to the psychological concept we say any human being they get the thought. That thought can be a positive or a negative thought. That positive or a negative thought, it carries to a feeling. That feeling, it goes to the action and then you will get the reaction. Imagine you got a thought. අපි හිතමුකෝ negative thought එකක් ආව, මම පන්තින ළමයෙකුට ගහනවා. ඔන්න දැන් ඒකත් එක්ක දැන් මේක ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා. දැන් මේ ආපු සිතුවිල්ල තමයි මගේ එහා පැත්තින ළමයාව එක්ක කොනිත්තනවා. right. ඔන්න එතකොට ඒත් එක්ක ක්‍රියාවට නැගලා දැන් මුලින්ම මේ සිතුවිල්ලක් ආවේ මම මෙයාව කොනිත්තනවා. ඊළඟට දැන් ඔන්න ළඟට යනවා, එයාව කොනිත්තනවා. ඔන්න දැන් ඇක්ෂන් එක ක්‍රියාව කරනවා. ඇත්තට මෙයාව කොනිත්තනවා. right? එතකොට එහා පැත්තෙන් රියැක්ෂන් එකක් එනවා. එක්ක අර දරුවා අඬනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ දරුවත් රියැක්ට් කරනවා, ගහන්න හදනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ දරුවා කෑ ගහනවා ටීචර් කියලා. ඔන්න ඔය වගේ සම්බන්ධයක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. අපිට දැන් පේන්නේ මම මේ ටික සිංහලෙන් වලට කියනවා සමහරට තේරුනේ නැත්තම් කියලා. ඒතර අපිට පේන්නේ පුතේ අර වෙච්ච ක්‍රියාවේ behavior එක විතරයි පේන්නේ. So that means only before we are talking about this behavior of a person, we should understand the other parts. That is why we call that it's the behavior works as an iceberg theory. Don't worry about this Sigmund Freud part. But you think about this is, we call it as the iceberg theory of behavior. Now, this is the visible part. You will see now when you go to the class, when the children are shouting and when the children are doing all the things, you see this, they are crying, right? Maybe they ignore other people, they don't like to talk to others, maybe they get anger very soon. Now that is what you see on children, but you don't know why. Maybe sometimes students, when they are hungry, even they cry. But if you do not understand that properly, or maybe when they are tired, even they cry. Or maybe then when they feel lonely, even they cry. Right? So if you have not identified their feelings, maybe you will treat them in a wrong way. So therefore, understanding the children's behavior also very, very important. And not only the behavior, now you have to understand, now this is of course the seen part of the iceberg, this is the unseen part. So unseen part, even up to a certain level, you should be able to understand. See, this is the seen part, this is the unseen part. මෙන්න මේ unseen part එකේ තමයි ගොඩාක් දේවල් මේ දරුවන්ගේ තියෙන්නේ. If we have not identified it properly, it's a problem. So from your end, you have to understand that, right? So when we are talking about the behavior of children, you have to understand it properly. Now, from the topic, even I was studying that the key characteristics of learning disabilities. Now, many students, we identify they are having some issues like reading issues, writing issues. It's very common in the primary section. Reading and writing issues. So normally we call this as the dyslexia, right? Imagine you are a teacher in a primary section. You are not knowing what is this dyslexia. So due to that, you are complaining to the parents. Maybe this student is not reading, this student is not writing, and all those things, or maybe to the principal and all, it's a problem. So that particular person, Sometimes when they are the special need children, sometimes when these hyperactive children, they are having some sort of issues. So from the teacher's end, you should be able to identify them properly. දැන් එතකොට දැන් මේ ඩිස්ලෙක්සියා කියද්දි මේ හැම දරුවෙකුටම පන්තින ඩිස්ලෙක්සියා නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ හිතන්නකෝ එක දවසක් දරුවෙක් ලියන්නේ නැහැ. එක දවසක් එයාගේ රීඩ් කරනකොට ගැටලු තියෙනවා. එහෙම නෙමෙයි පුතේ. ඔයාලා මේක ඔබ්සර්ව් කරන්න ඕනේ. It's an observable factor. So what you can do, you have to observe the same child. Imagine teachers have the sense. Not like sometimes teachers are having more sense than the parents. කියන්නේ යාලට හරීම දෙයක් දැනෙනවා because they work with the students. So if you have understood this boy or this girl is having kind of a problem, when you get that feeling, you start observing, right? When you get that feeling, අපිට අර සමහරට පන්තිදී තියෙනවා මේ දරුවට නම් මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක්. දැන් මොකක් හරි you have not identified it clearly, but you can understand she or he is not normal. So that part, when you get that feeling, when you get that sense, when you get, you can start observing. Keep on observing, maybe for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, like that. Slowly you observe, right? Observing means the writing parts, reading parts, speaking parts, the way she or he speaks with the students, how the way he does the work, and all those things. What you can do, you better observe. That is very, very important if you are observing, right? So try to observe slowly. Then from there, you will get many more things. So when the children, when they have this dyslexia, it's a problem. That means they struggle, right? Or else some students are there, they struggle with math. They can't do the calculations properly. So that is we call dyscalculia. Calculus problems, meganang, figures, numbers, right? Dyscalculia. So they are having that issue. So if you have identified, easily you can get some proper solutions for that, right? That is very, very important. Now, before we talk about these neurotransmitters, what are these neurotransmitters? We'll discuss this dyslexia. After that, we'll come back to that neurotransmitter. So we were talking about this dyslexia. So now I mentioned dyslexia means they are having some disabilities, or they are having some issues in reading and writing. එතකොට මේ dyslexia කියන්නේ මේක ප්‍රාථමික අංශය විතරක් නෙමෙයි පුතේ, secondary වල වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්, because if the teachers or the parents or whoever, if they have not identified in the primary level, it goes till the secondary when they go to the university and all, right? So when the students are having this dyslexia, maybe you can understand, or maybe you have identified difficulty spelling simple words. So they can't ස්පෙල් කරන්න අමාරුයි. මේ හරි වචනේ හොයාගන්න යනට අමාරුයි ටිකක්. Right? And reluctance to read aloud in class. They don't like to come front and do reading. Those type of things they show. Right? And very commonly confusing letters. ඔය BD ප්‍රශ්න, PQ prashna, it's very common in the primary section. If you give the dictation for them to write book, majority they write book, right? They identify this B as D, right? And sometimes the position issues, they can't position this. මේ animal කියන වචනේ හැබැයි හරියට අර දාගන්න බෑ. So when they have this learning, this is kind of a learning disorder, this dyslexia, it's a learning disorder, and they are not in a proper position to read and write. Yes, from your end, do you have any experiences, or if you have worked with dyslexia students, or if anyone likes to share? Because remember, Even though I'm doing the lecture, you all can talk any time that you want, right? And this is kind of a discussion, Puta. The collaborate learning is very, very important. So from your end, those who are working as teachers, if you have identified, maybe if you have not identified whether he or she is having dyslexia, but if you have identified they are having some reading and learning some disabilities or writing disabilities like that, if you are in a position to share, yes, you can share your ideas. Anyone? Any experiences? Right. Okay. Now I can remember when my son was schooling, right? Schooling means when he was in grade 1, not grade 1, actually before that, when he has gone for the grade 1 admission, that means they were giving some sort of tests like that. No, so he has done the test. That means after the nursery to enter to the grade 1, he has gone for the interview. There they have asked some sort of things. So after when he has faced the exam, the primary principal of that school, so he called the parents, and at that time she was telling me, now look here, your son is having some sort of confusion with this DB. Right. I said, okay, I also have noted, right? But I didn't do anything for that, but I was given kind of a small strategy to him. දැන් මෙන්න මේ BD කියන එක මම මෙහෙම කියලා දුන්නා. දැන් අර අපි පොඩි කාලේ කියලා දෙන්නේ බණ්ඩිය කියලානේ. එතකොට ඔන්න බණ්ඩිය තියෙන්නේ මේ L කියන අකුරට පුතේ පිටිපස්සේ. ඔන්න L වලට ඉස්සෙල්ලා තමයි ඔන්න බණ්ඩිය ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. Now this maybe you can't understand what I'm telling. මෙන්න මේකේ මේක L කියලා letter එක ගත්තොත් මෙන්න මේ L වලට පස්සේ තමයි ඔන්න බණ්ඩියක් ඇවිල්ලා යාට. එහෙනම් එයා B. ඔන්න බණ්ඩියට පස්සේ තමයි යාගේ L එක තියෙන්නේ. ඔය චූටි කාලේ උඹනේ උගන්වන්නේ. With that, it was okay. Right? With that, he was in a position to understand. Actually, I was not knowing at that time because I'm talking about 15, 16 years back. No, now he is 19 years, my son. එතකොට ඒ කාලේ ඇත්තටම මම දැනන් හිටියේ නෑ. දැන් මේ දන්න ඩිස්ලෙක්සියා කියන එකක් දන්නේ නැහැනේ. මම එහෙම දැනන් හිටියෙත් නෑ මේ එහෙම ඩිස්ලෙක්සියාද මේ දරුවට තියෙන්නේ නැත්තම් මම දැනගෙන හිටියේ කොමන්ලි අර උගුණම ඔය ප්‍රයිමරි ළමයිට ගොඩක් ඔය BD ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවානි කියන එක මිසක් මේක මේ කොමන් නිකන් දරුවෝ අතර තියෙන දෙයක් කියලා විතරයි මම දැනන් හිටියේ. So that is my personal experience. So sometimes we identify, but even that, remember, to identify a person like that, you have to observe very well, means it should be like all the things continuously that particular person should do. මේකේ මේ එකක් කළා කියලා අපිට මේ යාට dyslexia කියනවා නෙමෙයි, right? You have to observe. That is why I was telling, from your end, you have to observe a lot. Because if you have done kind of a wrong observation, maybe through that even it affects for their future, right? So you have to observe very well. If they are continuously doing that, they don't like to read continuously. They are, maybe when they are gradually moving to the other grades, even they are having this letter issue. They can't spell them properly. Then you have to identify it in a proper way, and with that only you have to do. So then this dyslexia is a common disorder where you can identify in this special need children because they are having some issues with the reading and writing, right? So these are some of the causes of learning disorders. Now, when we are getting these causes of learning disorders, and we have the risk factors of learning disorders. Now, that means we have to identify why these children are having these type of issues or these type of disorders, right? We have to identify why these children are having these type of disorders. The first thing is the genetic factors. Due to the genetic factors, the people will get these type of things. Genetic means from the parents or maybe from the grandparents, from their grandparents or maybe from their parents, they are getting many more factors. So that genetic factors are very, very important. That is why normally I will show that as well. That also not from your slide. This is from a different one. That is why we call it as that nature and nurture part. We talk about nature and nurture, right? Nature means we say, that's her nature. Nature means you are getting the nature from your genes, from your genetics, right? Hereditary factors. That means it's getting from your ancestors. එතකොට මේ nature කියන එක අපි ගන්නේ කෙනෙක්ගේ nature එක එන්නේ ඔයාලගේ ජාන වලින් අම්මගේ තාත්තගේ සීයාගේ ආච්චිගේ නැන්දාගේ මාමාගේ ඔන්න ඌ අයින් එනවා. එතකොට ඔන්න ඔය වගේ factors වලට පුතේ අපිට පවුලක මේ disorder special need දරුවෙක් එන්න පුළුවන්. උදාහරණයකට අපි හිතමුකෝ අපි ගන්නවා මේ යම්කිසි පවුලක්. ඒ පවුලේ ඒ තාත්තට ඉන්නවා අපි කියන විදිහට ටිකක් ඔය ස්පෙෂල් නීඩ්. අපි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ මන්ද බුද්ධික කියලා එහෙම කියන හොඳ නැහැ. මන්ද මානසික සමහරට අපි හිතමුකෝ මන්ද මානසික සහෝදරියක් හෝ සහෝදරයෙක් ඉන්නවා. අන්න එහෙම තියෙනකොට සමහර වෙලාවට ඒ ජෙනටික්ස් වලින් පොඩි ඉන්ෆ්ලුවන්ස් එකක් තියෙනවා. මෙහෙම දරුවෙක් ඉපදෙන්න. එහෙම ඒවා වෙනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔය ඒ වගේ ගොඩක් හේතු තියෙන පුළුවන් family මට්ටමින්. So that we call it as the nature. And the next one, nurture, from the environmental factors. That is why we say when we consider a child or a person, nature is getting from the genetics, nurturing is happening through the environmental factors, from the outside factors, right? So the first one, the main cause is the genetic factors. එතකොට මේ අපිට පරම්පරාවෙන් අපේ මේ නෑදෑයන් කියන්නේ අපේ අම්මා තාත්තගෙන් මේ ජාන වලින් එන එක තමයි මූලිකම සාධකය. So after that we can consider as the brain development issues. Sometimes imagine when a child staying inside the womb, the brain has not developed properly. Maybe the mother was having some sort of issues. Maybe mother was suffering with some of the diseases. Maybe the mother was taking some medicines. So those things also due to that even it can be. And some environmental influences. Imagine the very toxic environment, right? Maybe whoever the parents are living in a very toxic environment, maybe the chemicals are there everywhere. Sometimes the factories are there around the house, maybe the bad smells. That means the air they included to the atmosphere. Like that way, many more things can be. අපි ඉන්න පරිසරය විෂ සහිත පරිසරයක ඉන්නවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So that also can be the environmental influences. Or maybe sometimes we can see, imagine then a pregnant mother always staying with the maybe with the special need children, or maybe whatever the environment, like maybe the drug addictors, maybe always she sees the drug addictors or whoever like that. That also sometimes we can say the environmental influence even. Then the neurological factors, that means it is happening with the inside part, from the brain, cognition part. ඒකේ සමහර issues වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. Sometimes the learning environment. Think about, maybe a student is really good in reading, but maybe the teacher has identified she is not really good in reading, writing, mismatches. Due to that, even sometimes there can be many more things. And the cognitive ones we connected. And apart from that, social, emotional factors, parenting styles, due to that even, right? Parenting styles means අපි හිතමුකෝ මේ සමහරලාට අර ගොඩාක් ස්ට්‍රෙස් කරලා ළමයිව හදනකොටත් ඒවා නිසාත් සමහරලාට දරුවන්ට මේ ඉපදෙනකොට disabilities නැතුව සමහරලාට they will get many more disabilities. So therefore there are plenty of causes of learning disorders that we can consider for these type of things, right? And then this is very, very important that we talk about that ADHD, right? So Attention deficits, hyperactive disorder, right? Attention deficit, hyperactive disorder. Attention deficits. ඒ කියන්නේ attention seeker කෙනෙක් එයා hyperactive disorder. Right? Active means ක්‍රියාශීලී, අධික්‍රියාශීලී. එතකොට එහෙම දරුවෝ sometimes අර අපි hyperactive students ලා කියන්නේ පන්ති maybe why they are attention seekers. They need the attention from others. That is why sometimes they do. Sometimes they cannot stay in one place, walking around the class, sometimes shouting, like many more things that they do, right? And also the similar way, risk factors also we have to consider the risk factors as well. Right there, genetics we discussed. And prenatal influencers means like when you were inside the womb, prenatal influencers. So before you come out, when you were inside your mother's womb for 9 months to 10 months, maybe we'll assume if the mother was smoking, drinking, using some drugs, and maybe she was suffering with many other internal issues. Due to that, even sometimes, maybe in these students or in these people, their brain won't develop properly. So due to that, even sometimes when they come out from their mother's womb, they will get many more disorders, right? And then the birth factors, right? When you get the premature birth, maybe before the correct time, low birth weight, and sometimes the traumas are there, some, and the delivery, some issues. ඔන්න ඔය වගේ දේවලුත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සමහරට ඒ අදාළ කාලයට වඩා අඩු මාසෙන් දරුවෝ හම්බුනහම වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. සමහරලාට ගොඩක් ඒ අදාළ බර නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. සමහරට ඉපදෙනකොට මොනවා හරි ඒතන වෙච්ච යම් ගැටලු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අම්මට එකපාර high blood pressure වැඩි වෙලා, sugar වැඩි වෙලා, ඔන්න ඔය වගේ issue වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. So there can be many more. Right? So for the disorders, or sometimes early childhood experience, sometimes some people, they were really normal during the small age, but when they become as adults, they'll get some sort of disorder. So that can be from their early childhood experiences. ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර දරුවෝ ඉන්නවා මේ පුංචි කාලේ අපි identify කරගෙන නැහැ ඒගොල්ලන් special need children or maybe the disabled students. කියන්නේ physically they are really like normal, but when they become adult, වැඩිහිටියෝ වෙනකොට සමහර ඒගොල්ලන්ට මේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ළමා කාලේ තිබුණ ඒ අත්දැකීම් එක්ක සමහරලාට යම් issues වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Then the neurological factors, I will tell what are those neurological factors when I'm talking about that neurotransmitters, environmental factors we discuss, and medicine conditions. It can be, that means if the parents, when they, especially the mothers, when they get some medicines without the correct dose and all those things, and some emotional factors, traumas, those stressors, that means kind of some psychological factors also can be, right? So that means when we consider this dyslexia, we have to use the proper way of teaching methods, because if we are not using the proper teaching methods, it will be bit harder for them to catch up and all, right? So now before we are going to identify what are the strategies that we can do with these dyslexia people, dyslexia children, we'll understand what are these neurotransmitters, right? So these neurotransmitters means, according to the psychology, we say they are the chemical messengers, right? So they are the chemical messengers. So they then send the, now we know when we consider our body metabolism, when we consider our body, our the inside the that we have the flesh, inside the flesh we have our all the systems, nervous system, digestive system, then all the systems are there, no circulatory system. So there, this nerve system is there. So always they are sending messages from here and there. So we know the center is the brain. So from the brain, when we consider the nervous system, so from the brain only, it sends all the messages to all the other parts. So these neurotransmitters, they are also sending messages, but they are sending chemical messages. So these issues are happening, especially when we consider these disorders are happening when these chemical messages imbalances are, when these chemical message imbalances occur, these type of disorders are happening. එතකොට පුතේ දැන් මේ අපේ මේ ශරීරයේ මේ මස් වලට යටින් තියෙනවානේ මේ ඇට සැකිල්ල තියෙනවා ස්කෙලිටන් එක තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ අපේ මේ සම්පූර්ණ ශරීරය ගත්තොත් මේකේ මේ පද්ධති ගොඩාක් තියෙනවානේ. රුධිර සංසරණ පද්ධතිය කියනවා, ආහාර ජීර්ණ පද්ධතිය කියනවා, ස්නායු පද්ධතිය, මේ නර්වස් සිස්ටම් ස්නායු පද්ධතිය වගේ පද්ධති ගොඩාක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ අපේ ශරීරය ගත්තොත් මේ මොළයෙන් තමයි මේ හැම විශේෂයෙන්ම ස්නායු පද්ධතිය ගත්තොත් මේ අපිට දෙන මේ මෙසේජස්, ඒ කියන්නේ මේ යවන සංඥා ක්‍රම යවන්නේ මොළය හරහා අනිත් තැන් වලට. එතකොට මේ මොළය හරහා යවනකොට මේ නියුරෝට්‍රාන්ස්මීටර්ස් කියන එක, මට ඇත්තටම සිංහල වචනේ මතක නැහැ නියුරෝට්‍රාන්ස්මීටර්ස් කියන එකේ. එතකොට මේ නියුරෝට්‍රාන්ස්මීටර්ස් වලින් යම්කිසි රසායනික පණිවිඩයක් තමයි යවන්නේ. එතකොට මේ යමන මේ රසායනික පණිවිඩයේ හරි ප්‍රමාණයක්, හරි ඩෝස් එකක් තියෙනවා. ওই ඩෝස් එක එහෙට මෙහෙට වෙනස් වුණාම තමයි අපිට මේ වගේ මේ සංකූලතා නැත්නම් මේ disorders ඇති වෙන්නේ, right? So learning about these neurotransmitters, it's very, very important because in the imbalances of these chemical messaging system, so there are plenty of things will happen, right? There are plenty of things can occur. So therefore, learning about these neurotransmitters also very, very important, right? So here they mention clearly, brain cells are connected in large networks. There are places where two cells come into very close contact and messages can be passed from one cell to other. These places are called synapses. This happens by one of the cells releasing a chemical message called neurotransmitter that can cross the short gap to the next brain cell and activate or inhibit it. දැන් මෙන්න මේකයි මේකේ වෙන්නේ, right? So now this is inside your brain. It moves from one part to the other part. So this is the neurotransmitter, right? So it moves from the one part of the brain cell to the other part. So if it is not functioning in a proper way, there can be many more issues. So therefore, we can't neglect these neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters are very, very important. Maybe some of these neurotransmitters, you know, we say that serotonin, dopamine, or සමහර වෙලාවට මොන imbalances ආපුවම මේ neurotransmitters වල මෙන්න මේවා තමයි අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේ ඔය medicines වලදී දෙන්නේ මේ serotonin level එක වැඩි කරන්න, dopamine level එක අඩු කරන්න. ඔන්න ඔය වගේ දේවල් තමයි දෙන්නේ, right? Common neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, some they say dopamine even, so dopamine are often implicated in mental health orders such as depression and anxiety. So majority of the people are having depression and anxiety. Why? Because of the imbalance of the serotonin and the imbalance of this dopamine, right? That means the imbalance of these chemical messaging. their release, binding, and reputate are essential for why it is essential, because through that only they are sending the neural signals to the brain. So if it is not functioning properly, then it's bit harder for us, right? So now we are going to watch kind of a small video. So from there, even you will be able to understand what are these neurotransmitters and what are their functions and why they are important, right? I was trying to download this video, but they have not allowed me to download. So therefore, what I have to do, I will just share my from there. I will share it. Otherwise, like from the YouTube. Right. Okay. First, tell me whether you can hear.
Transmitters.
Heard. Then I will make it bigger.
Well, neurotransmitters are
Heard it.
Yes, miss.
Yes, madam.
What are neurotransmitters? Well, neurotransmitters are chemical messengers that transmit signals from a nerve cell. These signals can be passed from one nerve cell to another, from a nerve cell to a muscle cell, or to a gland cell. Neurotransmitters are used by the brain to help regulate breathing, digestion, and even heartbeat. They can also affect other things such as concentration, sleep, and mood. So how do neurotransmitters work? When a nerve cell fires a nerve impulse, neurotransmitters are packaged inside of synaptic vesicles. These synaptic vesicles fuse with the cell membrane and release the neurotransmitters, which cross a fluid-filled gap called the synaptic cleft. These neurotransmitters land on receptor sites of another nerve cell and pass on the nerve impulse. This happens very quickly. More than 100 neurotransmitters have been identified, and some important neurotransmitters include acetylcholine, which is key in activating muscles. Norepinephrine increases heart rate and blood pressure. Dopamine deals with pleasure and rewards. GABA suppresses some types of anxiety. And serotonin, which promotes the sense of well-being and happiness. And that be the basics on neurotransmitters.
So there they were talking about what are neurotransmitters and how it functions in a very simple way. So knowing about these things, it's very, very important, because when you're going to work with the children, if you know at least, never mind if it is difficult for you to identify even, but if you know these type of disorders are there, these type of issues are happening in our body system, then you will be start thinking in a different way. You will be start reacting in a different way to the students without shouting. දැන් අපි මේවා දැනගත්තාම වෙන්නේ පුතේ, එතකොට අපි මේ දරුවෝ දිහා පොඩ්ඩක් අර you will start looking at them in a different angle. ඒතර දැන් ටිකක් මේ දේවල් දැනගත්තාම මේ වගේ දේවල් නිසා වෙන්නේ නැති මේ දරුවට එක තැනක ඉන්න බැරි. නැත්නම් අපි හිතන්නේ මේ ළමයන් නම් පුදුම අමාරුවක් තියෙන අනිත් ඔක්කොටම ඉන්න පුළුවන්. ඇයි මේ ළමයාට ඉන්න බැරි? Maybe we have not identified that they are having some disorder. So when you start learning these type of things, you will be able to understand, no, because they are having some issues. So at least understanding their lifestyle, understanding their situation, that's also a great thing, right? So that is a very, very important. Learning about all those things, it's very, very important, right? So we discuss what is this dyslexia. And these are some of the things, like imagine if you have identified a student who is not really good in reading and writing in your class, maybe you can do some sort of activities with him or her, but maybe It's a bit harder when you have more students in the class. Like we use this phonetic method, right? Phonetic method කියන්නේ දැන් අපි alphabet එකේ අපි cat කිව්වොත් අපි දැන් ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මෙන්න මෙහෙම කිව්වොත් දැන් අපි පුංචි කාලේ ඉගෙන ගත්තේ cat කියන්නේ CAT cat. කිසිම සවුන්ඩ් එකකුත් නැහැ. කියෝනකොට එන්නෙත් නැහැ ඒ වචනේ අපිට ඔළුවට. අපි ඉතින් CAT කියලා එක පාඩම් කරලා හරි මොකක් හරි විදියකින් අපි cat කියනවා. හැබැයි මේ ෆොනටික්ස් උත් එක්ක අපි කියන්නේ එහෙම නෙමෙයි. ඒ අදාළ ලෙටර් එකට තියෙන සවුන්ඩ් එකත් එක්ක. එතකොට අපි මේ cat කියන්නේ cat. cat. එතකොට මේ it කියද්දිම අපිට එනවා cat. කියලා අර ඒක ඒ දරුවට ඒක මේ පුරු වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ දරුවට ඉගෙන ගන්න ලේසි. CAT කිව්වට CAT කියන එක cat නැත්තම් අපිට වෙන මොකක් හරි කියන්න පුළුවන් කිසිම සම්බන්ධතාවයක් නෑ. එතකොට මෙන්න මේ phonetic teaching තමයි අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් encourage කරන්නේ මේ dyslexia, not only for the dyslexia students, for the primary grades, for the pre-grades we use this phonetics. So that phonetics wording is very, very important by using some flashcards like that. It's very, very good because if we are doing in that way, it's very, very important. Then they will learn many more things, right? So, and this phonetics also not in a very speedy manner. We have to do it in a very simple way because they are not normal like the other people, not normal like the other children. So you have to understand that. Because if they are not normal, you have to give some more time for them to think and do it in a proper way. එතකොට පුතේ දැන් ඔයාලගේ පැත්තෙන් අඳුන ගත්තයින් පස්සේ මෙයාට dyslexia තියෙනවා. Imagine if that particular student got the medical report with the recognition of dyslexia. එතකොට අපිට අනිත් දරුවන්ට වගේ යාට dictation දෙනකොට ඉක්මනට ලියන්න කියලා, වචන හදනකොට ඉක්මනට ලියන්න කියලා, ඉක්මනට ඒවා හදන්න කියලා අපිට කියන්න බෑ. මොකද එයා ටිකක් slow learner කෙනෙක් අනිත් අයට වඩා. So you have to understand his situation. So you have to do according to that. So that type of a thing you have to do from your end, because if you are not doing it in a proper way, then it's a problem. Or maybe you have to direct whoever that child to a special needs school then. Because if you all are not having the proper facilities in your school, either you have to direct them to a special need school. එතකොට දැන් ඒ වගේ දරුවන්ට ඒ විශේෂ විදිහට අපි උගන්වන්න ඕනේ. යාලට අපිට කලබල වෙලා මේක සිලබස් එක කවර් කරන්න ඕනේ. මේක මෙන්න මේ කොටස් ටික කරන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම කියලා අපිට ඒ දරුවන්ට උගන්වන්න බෑ. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ slow learners ලා. එතකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ ටිකක් වෙලා ගන්නව අනිත් අයට වඩා. ඒ නිසා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මට්ටමින් යාලට පුළුවන් මට්ටමින් අපි ඒ දරුවන්ව ඉස්සරහට ගෙනියනවා මිසක් අපේ වේගෙන් සිලබස් එකක් කවර් කරන්න කියලා අපි යාලව ස්ට්‍රෙස් කරනවා නම් ඒක වැරදි. මොකද එහෙම කරනකොට they won't start learning, they will get many more issues. Then it's really bad for their future, right? So you have to understand that. So that is very, very important that phonetics take අපිට දෙන්න පුළුවන්, and these letters also, the everything like that, right? Now I have made kind of a case study of a dyslexia person, right? Okay, now first we'll read it. Okay, I'll give some time, you read it slowly. After that, I will explain this entire scenario. Read it slowly first. Okay, so I will read. Sophia is a 9-year-old student in grade 4, has been struggling with reading, writing, and spellings since she was in grade 1. So maybe while you're reading this case study, you can understand that means she was struggling from grade 1. Now she is in grade 4. So grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, nearly 3 years or 4 years, she was struggling. Maybe the teachers have not noted, right? They have not noticed that maybe she's having, right? So she was struggling continuously. That is why I said, when you are observing, you have to observe for a longer period. Continuously it should happen. Not for 1 week. 1 week's time not reading, 1 week's time not writing, 1 week's time making mistakes for the spellings. Not like that. You can't do like that continuously for a longer period, right? So her teachers have noticed that despite her strong verbal skills, so she has a good verbal skills. හොඳට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. An ability to engage in classroom discussions. So nicely she engaged with the classroom discussions. That means very active girl. Communication skills are very good and participating for the classroom discussions, doing very well. But when it comes to the reading, writing, and spellings, she finds it's difficult, right? She finds it's difficult to read words fluently and has trouble remembering spelling patterns. ඒ කියන්නේ හරි වචනේ හරියට වැටෙන්නේ නැහැ. cat කිව්වොත් ACT අන්න ඒ වගේ ලියවනවා. ලියවෙන්නේ එහෙම. Her parents report that she often mixes up letters when writing, such as writing B for D, and frequently reverses the order of letters in words. Was කියන එක සමහරට ඔන්න අනිත් පැත්තට යනවා. reverse වෙලා යන්නේ. එතකොට so හරි ඉස්සරහින් ඉඳන් පස්සකට පස්සේ ඉඳන් ඉස්සරහට අන්න ඒ වගේ යාට ඒ කියන්නේ මේ it's a problem. She also struggles to break down words into their individual sounds and has trouble with word recognition. වචන අඳුන ගන්නත් අමාරුයි. However, she has no issue with her vision. පේන එකේ කිසි ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. Hearing no issue, ඇහෙන්නේ නැතුව නැහැ. And general intelligence. ඒ කිසි දෙයක ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. IQ ඒ හැම පැත්තම හොඳයි. After a series of assessments, that means not from one, they have done many more tests. From that, they have identified Sophia was diagnosed with dyslexia. The school has decided to provide her with additional support in reading and writing to help her improve her literacy skills. Now, that's the scenario now, right? Now, that's the problem. Okay, now maybe you got the idea. Now, what we are going to do, the first question, what are the key characteristics of dyslexia demonstrated by Sophia in the case study? Second one, what types of instructional strategies would be most effective for teaching Sophia phonics and reading skills? So you are going to answer both questions, right? So read this case study again, get the very clear meaning, and then you are going to write a very solid answer. Solid answer කියන්නේ බොහොම හොඳ answer එකක්. මට ලොකු දිග answer එකක් නෙමෙයි ඕනේ point form එකෙන් හරි බොහොම හරි now it is 7:02. I will be giving 15 minutes. Why I am giving 15 minutes? So you have to come up with a very, very good answer. Remember, not just to waste the time I'm giving, for you to read, understand the entire scenario, and then to come up with the very good answer. So 7:17, we start checking. Each person should come up with their answers, right? Okay. Shall we start checking? Right. Yes, I will start from Nadi. Yes, Nadi.
As for the first part,
Hmm.
key characteristics, difficult to read words fluently,
Hmm.
trouble in remembering spelling pattern,
Hmm.
mixes up letters when writing,
Hmm.
struggles to break down words into their individual sounds, trouble with word recognition. Answer for the part 2, practice rhyming through read rhyming stories and poems, sing rhyming
Right.
songs.
How are you going to do that? Practice means like poems and all. Like, are you going to give more time or like how the way that you're going to do it? Tell me the
Uh,
instructions, how the way that you're giving the instructions when you're doing a poem or whatever with them. With
focus,
this.
focus, and give attention separately to that students.
Ah, right. Okay, continue. What else? What are the other things that you're
Uh,
going to apart
use
from
flash,
the poems and all?
use flashcards.
Ah,
Uh, then tasks should be broken down into small and manageable steps,
hmm,
and encourage them to use IT equipments like computer, because through spell checking, it, uh, it may help them to identify their mistakes.
okay.
Then practice them to play with word and sound games,
Hmm.
and practice hearing the individual sounds in words.
Hmm. Okay, right. Yes, Dileka.
First one, difficult reading.
Hmm.
You can't remembering spelling patterns.
Hmm.
Difficult to writing, and
Hmm.
words can't recognize the word.
Hmm.
Second one, use the sand, write letters.
Hmm.
Listen to the stories.
Hmm.
Give some hand activities to her. Write
Hmm.
letters and paste from the dal and tear the papers.
Hmm.
Give small jumble words to correct them,
Hmm.
and show the pictures, and do some word games. That's it.
Okay, good. Chamari.
Yes,
Chamari.
ma'am.
Ah, yes.
Yes. First one, difficulty spelling simple words, reluctance to read aloud in class, confusing letters with similar shapes, mixing up the question of sounds in a word.
Hmm.
Second question, actually she has no issues with vision, hearing or general intelligence. So we
Hmm.
can do following. We can use flashcards with letters, words or pictures. Employ sound patterns and rhymes. Repeat sound and words aloud.
Hmm.
Start with phonics awareness, rhyming games. Rhyming helps students hear the sounds in words. Break down words into their individual sounds. So, like cat, sound blending. Have the student blend individual sounds together to form words.
Hmm.
And the one is introduce letters and sounds sequentially.
Hmm.
Beginning with simple high frequency letters that have clear sounds
Hmm.
like M, M, K, like. Use a phonics program such as Water, Bingham. I can't read that word. Gillingham,
Some,
yes.
Chamari, some of the parts, of course, I didn't hear properly.
Use phonics program which teaches phonics in a structured, cumulative way.
Okay,
That's
right.
enough.
Dinoshi?
Good evening, madam.
Good evening.
According to the Sophia's case study, the main characteristics of dyslexia. The first thing, when she was reading, she has been struggling with some word recognition. And because of that case, she was struggling to mix up the words. And she cannot break down words into their original sounds. Also, when she was reading, she cannot remembering the spellings pattern. So, according to this struggle, she cannot read properly or write properly, and she had no other issues. But I have to mention here something that I believe if the teachers recognize the matter in grade 1, that this child life must be easier than this. And that's my first answer. And the second one, teaching to the Sophia must be have to done with some experts, and teachers can teach phonic sounds. And if she can feel the letters by touching, I think it will be success. And teachers must tracking her improvements, and she also need the peers' help. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Dinoshi is one. Yes, it's correct. Now, if they would have recognized in the grade 1 level, so then it was really good. So that is why I'm telling the teachers are having more responsibilities. You have to identify the students well. Very good. Right. Maheshi.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, Pratap.
My first answer. In Sophia's case, study the key characteristic of dyslexia that she demonstrates include. First one is difficulty with reading fluency. Sophia struggles to read words fluently, which is a common challenge for individuals with dyslexia. And second one, spelling challenges. She has trouble remembering spelling patterns and often mixes up letters when writing, such as writing B to D instead of bad. This is a typical difficulty for people with dyslexia. And for third one is difficulty breaking down words into sounds. She has trouble breaking words into their individual phonemes or sounds, which affects her ability to decode words efficiently. This is a core characteristic of dyslexia. And my second answer is for teaching Sophia phonics and reading skills effectively using a multisensory and structured approach is key. Below are some introductional strategies tailored to her needs. First one is visuals, auditory, and kinesthetic learning. Use multisensory techniques such as visual, show right letters, words, and word patterns. And second one is auditory. Use songs and chants to reinforce phonetics patterns anymore. And second one is word families and rhyming. Focus on word families. Example, at and ing to help Sophia recognize patterns and sound out unfamiliar words. And next one is interactive reading. Use guided reading sessions with text at her reading level. Provide opportunities for her to practice reading aloud with support and allowing her to decode words steps by steps. Next one is use of technology. Incorporate text-to-speech tools to assist with reading, comprehension, and audiobooks for listening practice. Speech-to-text software can help her with writing. These strategies, along with ongoing individual support, can help Sophia strengthen her phonics and reading skills over time. Would you like more information on any strategies, her phonics and reading skills over time? That's all.
Maheshi, just tell me whether you have written that alone or did you look from either ChatGPT or somewhere and you have written?
I written and I support Google.
That's the thing. Right. Now, so far, those who were telling answers, I felt that Dinushi's answer fully like her own idea. Dinushi, did you look and write or did you explain your idea?
No, madam, it's my idea. That's why.
Right. Okay, good. Chamari, how did you write?
Sorry,
Nadi,
ma'am.
how Chamari, how did you
Hello?
write the answer? Did you get the Google help or like that means either ChatGPT or somewhere help
No,
or
no, madam. Madam,
your
no.
right, good. Nadi, how did you write?
Uh, Rhyming stories and poems is and flashcard is my answers. Others, I go through Google Map.
Right, okay. Yes. Dileka,
Own ideas.
your own idea, right. Anuradhi, read your answer.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Yes,
Hello.
Anuradhi, read your answer, yes.
First one is poor word recognition. Hello.
I can hear
Hello.
Anuradhi, you tell.
Yeah, okay. Difficulty with spelling. Difficulty reading fluently. Second one is visual aids, flashcard, images, videos, some videos. Second is synthetic activities, is a hand-on activity. Sorry. Activities such as letters, correspondence, reflections and practice. This can include activities such as repeat reading, reading aloud, use of technology. This can include using computer games and apps that provide interactive and energizing activities. It's all about. Thank you, madam. It's all.
It's your own idea or whether you have taken from somewhere.
Google search, ma'am, this disorder, and
Okay,
yeah.
right. Pooshani, read your answer.
For the first one, according to the case study, like the characteristics of dyslexia, according to Sophia's case study, her mix-up of letters, how she mixes up letters when writing B and D, like writing B for T, and how she writes the words in reverse order, and how she struggles to break down words into the individual sounds, and with word recognition. From the case study, these are the key characteristics of dyslexia demonstrated by Sophia. And for the second one, the types of instruction strategies that would be effective. Because as children, one would be using visual learning aids, like for example, colorful letter cards or flashcards is very popular now. That because they're kids, flashcards with pictures and words would help them to like to teach Sophia. Also songs or rhymes so that they speak. They they make the sounds from their voices. They sing, they do rhyming poems or whatever. So they repeat the sounds on and on. And if we look at it in a systematical way, to have a systematical approach, the teachers or whoever could, follow a structured program, that like starting from a level 1, where the child gets to know about the phonic concept slowly, not in a very advanced way, but in a slow way where she gets the idea of the concepts, start with simple sounds and then progress to more complex ones. And so that it will help children like Sophia with with that disability.
Is it your own idea or whether you have
My one, ma'am.
right? Now, why I'm telling like that way? So when you're going to get the chance to write, try to use your own ideas because it's really needed. That is why I have given little bit a lengthy time, right? Not to check from somewhere. Now, maybe you see it's much more easier because it's not really troublesome. Easily you can get it from chat GPT, right? So AI support you can get. But remember, you have to get the knowledge. Enisa, personally, I don't like if you all are referring. Right? So මට ලොකු දිග බොරු උත්තරයක් කියනවට වඩා සමහරලාට කියව ගන්නත් බැහැ ඒ වචන. එතකොට ඒකෙන්ම තේරෙනවා ඔයාලා ලියපු එකක් නෙමෙයි කියලා. Because when you write, you know what you have written and all. So you know really, okay, this is what I have written. So you are in a position to read it. But sometimes I notice that when you all are reading your answers, sometimes you get like it's difficult for you to read. At the same time, you're not knowing anything, just you're reading something, it's pointless. So you have to be honest to yourself because that's the most important thing. One day you all are going to become teachers. So if you are going to become a good teacher, you have to be a role model to your students. So keep that also in mind. And I will just brief your syllabus. Why I wanted to brief your syllabus to see where you are now, because then you will get some sort of ideas from there as well. Right now we are doing the 5th module. So in the 5th module, so far I will just take the content. So from Right. We have done this identification, children with special need, key characteristics, right? And I have given for you all these managing challenges behavior or supporting this. These are the two things that I have given for the assignment, no? Wait, I will check. Not that page.
Pujani, I think you have Pujani or hostel.
Yeah. No, teacher left. That's the problem.
Hari hari.
What happened?
Pujani කරගෙන යන්න ඊටු ටික.
Oh, ඒක තමයි.
ඒ කියන්නේ මේ මැඩම්
නැහැ මං හිතන්නේ මේ නැහැ මේ connection issue එකක් එන්නේ.
හරි. අද ඔය ට්‍රිප් එකක් යනවා කිව්ව නේද?
ගියේ නැහැනේ වැස්සනේ. මගේ teaching schedules දීලා ඉවරද practice එක?
ඒක කොහොමද හදන්න ඕනේ? ඒ කියන්නේ නිකන් මැසේජ් එකක් දාන්නද?
ඔව් ඔයා message එකක් දානවට convenient time and the date like හැම week එකේ නම් දැන් මේ week එකේ නම් මට Thursday and Friday පුළුවන් නම් Thursday and Friday this time මට පුළුවන් කියලා.
Okay.
එහෙම දාන්න.
I'm really sorry, I can't log in from my WhatsApp. Something has went wrong, so I joined from my phone. So I'm not in a position to share, but I will take some screenshots and send. Now, so far, we have done the first 3 parts of our module, and then I have given you all that adaptive equipment and materials for you all to do, right? So that part only I have given for you all to do. So then when we consider like that, we have some more parts to cover. It I will get a photo and send because it's there in my right. So we have the 4th one, that conductive classroom environment for children with special need education. and curriculum adaptation. These are the parts that we have to do. Conductive classroom environment, curriculum adaptation, managing challenging behavior, and supporting families of individuals with special needs. So those are the things that we have to do, right? So we can be finished this by taking another 2 weeks or maximum by taking 3 weeks. After that, we can move to our other modules, right? So maybe you all know what are the other modules. If you do not know, I will just send the topics of the other modules. Why I will send the topics of the other modules? Because there it is not very difficult modules that you will get, right? Wait, I will get a screenshot. Hope you all can hear me.
Yes, yes.
Can
Yes,
hear now?
yes,
All right.
yes, yes.
ඊළඟ modules වල තියෙන පුතේ, now I have sent it to the group. See the 6th module, mathematics in primary education. Very familiar. So then the 7th module, language in primary education. Language means English, right? And then the 8th module, environment and science in primary education. Sometimes we have E&B and science, so both. Then the 9th module, health and physical education in primary education. Then the 10th one, aesthetic education, right? That means music, dancing, and all those. So these 5 are not very difficult, right? So when we are doing these 5, now it's a 5-year term. Your assignments will be, you are doing presentations, so you're doing individual presentations. That means when we are doing the 6th module, mathematics in primary education, you have to prepare a separate lesson plan for math and you are presenting it. That means you are doing it. So when you are doing the 7th one, you are preparing a lesson plan for English and you are doing it. That means you are teaching it. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ඊළඟ මොඩියුල්ස් පහ පුතේ හුඟක් අමාරු ඒවා නෙමෙයි මේවා ඔයාලා උගන්වන විෂයන් හා අනුබද්ධ වෙලා තියෙන ඒවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි මේ ප්‍රාථමිකාංශය කියන්නේ ප්‍රයිමරි ස්කූල් එකේ උගන්වන විෂයන් එක්ක තමයි මේ ටික එකතු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ, right? ඒ නිසා ඔයාලා පුතේ එතකොට මේ 6 7 8 9 10 කියන මොඩියුල්ස් ටික අපි කරද්දී අනිවාර්යෙන්ම ඕගොල්ලෝ lesson plan එකක් ඕගොල්ලන්ට කැමති subject එක කියන්නේ මේ කැමති ක්ලාස් එකකටයි ලෙසන් එකකුයි එකතු කරගෙන ඔයාලට ලෙසන් ප්ලෑන් එකක් හදලා එතකොට ඒ ලෙසන් එක උගන්වන්න ඕනේ. ඒක ඔයාලා අනිවාර්යෙන් ඕගලගේ පැත්තෙන් කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට maths lesson එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. English, then the environment or science, that means ENV or science, health and physical education, and then the aesthetic, right? So then you will be prepared 5 lesson plans and you're doing 5 lessons. Then ඔක්කොම කරනකොට ඔයාලට fully you will get the entire knowledge, not only to become one subject teacher, to become kind of an all around, right? So ඒ නිසා ඔයාලා ඒ විදිහට prepare වෙනවා නම් that's really good, right? That is why I said the other 5 modules are not extremely difficult. When you start doing, easily you can do properly, right? That is very, very important. So you can do like that. Yes. From the work what we have done today, if you have anything, yes, you can come up with your issues. Whatever the things that you have, yes, you can come up with your issues. Issues මොනා හරි තියෙනවද? Right, so then tomorrow we are going to have the session at 6 o'clock, and next week I'm not in a position to do both 19th and 20th. දැන් ඔයාලට ගැටලුවක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක අනිත් අය සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේ group එක විතරයි ඉන්නේ. හින්දා ගැටලුවක් කරගන්න එපා. right? එතකොට ඒ නිසා මට කියන්න දැන් ඊයේ නම් මගේ අතින් mistake එකක් මම අර tomorrow කියලා කියනකොට ඇත්තටම I was thinking it's Sunday. So I am the one who has sent the message. We will do the session tomorrow කියලා Friday I have sent it, but I was remembering Sunday, right? So අපිට පුළුවන් if you all are free 18th Saturday, right? But I will be free because I'm having lectures at Aquina still 6:15, 6:20 වගේ. එතන මම normally I come home also around 7:20, 7:30. If you all are available, if we can have the session either at 8 to 10, if you all are free, or maximum 7:30 to 9:30. That means the Sunday session. Are you all free?
I'm okay. Yes, ma'am.
What about now those who are not free? Next Saturday, 7:30. That means for the module 5. Because anyway, that module 5 we are doing weekends, so then we have to select either Saturday, Sunday. We cannot go for a weekday. No, it's not good even. Are you all free? If you are not free Saturday 7:30, just let me know. That means you all yes. If you all are not free, just tell me. Put the thumb up, then I can see if you are not free. Right. So then I will send a message to the group also. We are going to have the 19 January Sunday module 5 lecture on 18 Saturday 7:30. And 20th also I'm not available. I was telling the Vesper now. I was telling the church feast that Kandan and Katua BTS and Sebastian church feast, and the Vespers also they are on 19th, and 20th is the feast day. Right? So then instead of 20th Monday, if you all are free, because I'm available Tuesday after 7 o'clock, then Wednesday after 7 o'clock, Thursday after 7 o'clock, like that, either Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm free. Not only Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday also I'm free. If you all are free, we can have either 21st Tuesday 7:30 or 22nd Wednesday 7:30. So likewise, just tell me if you all are not free Tuesday. එහෙනම් අපි එතකොට 20 තියෙන එක 21 අඟහරුවාදා කරමු. එතකොට අඟහරුවාදා ඔයගොල්ලෝ ෆ්‍රී නම් මට ෆ්‍රී නැත්තම් චුට්ටක් කියන්න. චතුරිකාගේ තියෙනවා නේද ඉෂුව එකක්? චතුරිකාද නැහැ. What about Wednesday? Are you all free? Wednesday. හැමෝම free වගේ. එහෙනම් මෙහෙම කරමු. 20th Monday one only for next week. Tomorrow we are having tomorrow we are having the session, even though it's poem we are having it. Next week, 20th Monday session, we'll do 22nd Wednesday. Right? We'll do it at 7 o'clock. Right? So that is for the module 4. So I will send both messages to the group now, otherwise I also will forget. And from your end, if you do not have anything, right. Now, as I mentioned you earlier, even this 5th module, it's very, very important because it's the special need education. It's a separate module. Try your level best and start your assignment, those who have not started, and do that also properly. Right. Any issues or any problem? If you have anything?
No.
Right. Okay. From your end, if you do not have anything, we'll wind up the session. Thank you very much for joining. And you all better revise all the notes, right? Okay. Good night and God bless you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome, Pita. God bless.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.